Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I am your host, Sharifah Hardy, and I have a very interesting show for you today. This show is a show like no other. Now, every day I bring together five guests from different industries, different backgrounds, different topics, different experiences, and we sit down in a roundtable discussion and discuss not only current events and what's going on in the world, but marketing, business, wellness, health, and everything under the sun. But today, we're going to do it different. We're going to bring together a few people who know each other and who are going to teach us and tell us what it takes to make a great team. The first person I'm going to introduce, I'm starting the introductions, but I got to ask you to do what I always ask you to do. And that is to go ahead and share the show, be an evangelist, an activist, someone who supports us. Because like I said, this show is different. This show is special. And you want to make sure your friends don't miss it. I want to introduce Sir Sanju. Sir Sanju is an actual knight. We talked about that on one of our shows. I think his first appearance on the show. And one of the things that I love about this gentleman is that he really got the show. He got what we're doing here on the Roundtable Talk Show. He wasn't happy to just be here the first time or the second time. He said, Sharifah, you know what? I want to be a part of what you're doing. So if you tune in once a month, through the end of the year, you are going to see Sir Sanju. But between Sir Sanju, and he always says, it's not just me, it's his team. Sir Sanju works with his wife, a great team. We'll also introduce Tracy Lamori of Lamori Public Relations, who's also been here about 10, 12 times. She brings her guests, her expertise. But we're going to talk today about website design, digital media, SEO, and so much more. I would love to introduce Mr. Sir Sanju. Good morning, Sanju. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm excited to be here, excited to have you.
Yeah, same here. I'm about 2 coffees behind this morning, but I think I'll be okay.
Okay, so tell us about you. Before we start all these introductions, tell us about you.
So I do a lot. So I've actually my history goes back to when I was younger, and I've also had a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit in me. Started a first company when I was in my teens, and always worked in corporate roles that were very entrepreneurial. The kind of fun story of mine is, I got up one day, I was at a conference in Orlando, and I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And I kind of came back to Toronto, where I am, and decided to start my own company. And since then, we've created a digital media agency that is like your show, no other, right? And it's very unique in the way that we operate. The clients that we work with are a lot of fun. There's a lot of trust there, and we're always looking for different ways to do things to kind of grow. And I love coming on a show because I'm able to kind of pick up different topics and talk about a different perspective as a bit of a thought leader, as a bit of a self-proclaimed expert on the topics I talk about. We like to give perspective, and what I want to kind of do today, with your permission, is kind of talk about digital marketing or marketing as a whole, just given what COVID's done to all of us and given what it's done to a lot of businesses. We find that there's a lot of people coming our way not knowing either where to start something new because they just want to kind of branch out and have that feeling I had, 10 years ago in Orlando, or kind of take their business and pivot, right, in a way that allows them to actually be sustainable and keep growing as we sort through this a bit of a mess, right? And then hopefully once we're through it, continue through. So,
I want to talk about that, Sir Sanju. I don't want to cut you off, but that's what I do here on the Roundtable Talk Show, because I hear something that's insightful, something I love. And what happens is the guest gives me gold, and I see the gold. I recognize the gold. But what we know about gold is gold has to be mined. So for you, it's something ordinary. But for me, I'm like, wait a minute. Did you catch that? One of the things that we discuss on the Roundtable Talk Show is this whole idea of the imposter syndrome. Right. So when you were speaking, you said you are the self-proclaimed expert. Right. Yep. And so usually people will say, I'm an expert, or such and such says I'm the expert. You just proclaimed yourself an expert. How, when, why did you decide to say, you know what? I know my stuff. I have the experience. I'm an expert in this field.
I think, going back, thought leadership and expertise is a really Interesting topic. It's one of those things that unfortunately everyone's desensitized to, right? Because everyone who pops out of wherever they're coming into is suddenly the guru, the expert, the thought leader, whatever it is of what they're doing. And I've always believed that it's not something that you kind of say you are. It's more something you build around and people recognize you for. And I think there's a very key difference there, right? Because if your work and your reputation and your thoughts essentially that you're putting out there, or your methodology influences and helps people modify the way they think or do better for themselves. There's a quote this morning that says, if you have to tell someone a lady, you're not, right? And kind of, that whole methodology that you don't need to say anything. It shows itself. The proof is in the pudding, so to speak. And making sure that whatever you're doing is something that you would do yourself. And what I find, unfortunately, is that there's a lot of experts that don't necessarily practice what they preach, or really wouldn't do it themselves because it just sounds better than it is to actually execute on.
So you have Tracy. Let's introduce Tracy to the conversation. Tracy was joining us. Tracy Lamourie of Lamourie Public Relations, who initially introduced me to Sir Sanj. Good morning, Tracy. How are you?
Hello. And we recently incorporated, so it's changed from Lamourie Public Relations to Lamourie Media Inc.
That is true. That is true.
We scaled up.
we got to update your Zoom. Then let's
right.
Update this. Make this
I'm corporate now. But yeah, I'd like to comment on what Sanj you said just on that expert thing, and when you brought up imposter syndrome. I constantly meet really accomplished people like Sanju in their fields, who may not necessarily be speaking publicly. And I'm like, oh my God, you are an expert. He's not just a self, declared expert. He is clearly an expert. And when I saw his resume, when, we first started just chatting on LinkedIn, I was like, no, we got to get you, in front of media because you know your stuff and you're well-spoken. There's experts, and then there's the experts who can explain to us and to actually become thought leaders and let us understand what they're thinking and all that stuff. And Sanju definitely, does all of that. So he's been all over podcasts since we met and doing, quotes from here in Toronto. He's just being quoted internationally. So he's not just self-proclaimed expert. The world agrees that he's an expert.
That's the most important thing. The world has to agree. So who else agreed with you? Like, what was one of your most proudest moments?
Myself?
Yes. Aside from being a knight, like we've used that already.
I would say, honestly, starting the company when I did. I think, I always tell people the day I started to do that was sort of the same timeline that I proposed to my wife. And, as awesome as she is, there's always that, are you sure moment, right? And I'm glad I did it when I did it, because it's sort of one of those things that it's never a right time to start. It's never a good time to start.
You just have to leap.
They go somewhere, right? And you need to start it out and see what happens. And I'm proud of the fact that, we took that risk. I'm proud of the fact that we've survived and thrived. And I'm proud of the fact that I have an awesome wife. Like, she supports me so much. It's amazing. Right. And, without that, this wouldn't be where we are today. So, recognizing that side of it, but recognizing the facts that we've been able to be resilient and we've been able to pivot and we've been able to grow and find amazing people like the people you're going to meet probably after this on this podcast is something that, honestly, I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of the fact that we've worked towards that and built it ourselves.
Okay, let's introduce your team.
Let's do it. So who do you want to start with?
I just feel like ladies first.
All right, cool.
That's what I was going to say. Let's just start with me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm like, let's talk to Natalia. She's just smiling and waiting and happy.
She just looks way too comfy today. So Nat actually works on the team. She's awesome. She runs all of our social media. She works with all of our clients. She helps them create some crazy cool ideas, helps them grow, helps them see revenue. And honestly, you'll let her tell the story, but the way that disconnected even is just it's so interesting, right? And I've always believed that when things are meant to be or things are meant to happen, they'll connect no matter what you do, right? And you can't run from it. But I'll let Nat kind of introduce herself. kind of go from there.
Yeah, so I mean, I do have to say that one of the things that I love about Sanju and why I work where I work is because everything is a great idea. There's never something that's ever too crazy. There's like sometimes I'll have these thoughts in my brain and I'll be like, Sanj, what do you think about this? This happened yesterday actually. He goes, you know what, Nat? We can do it. We can try. There's always that will to try something new because at the end of the day, I think that's what sets us apart is because we're very innovative. So no, I am, I always say that we're a bunch of weirdos. We are very eccentric in that way. We're very quirky people. So that's why I love working where I work because it really does give you the opportunity to be your individual person and that's supported. So funny thing is we met actually through my best friend. I remember when I first met Sanju, I, brought my resume, did my whole thing, gave him my resume. He looked at it. He goes, so tell me about yourself and just like chucked it to the side. And when I first started working, I didn't really have a direction. I was kind of going, spot to spot throughout different departments. And I just fell in love with social media. And funny enough, I took marketing in university. But before even doing marketing, I thought to myself, because I'm a very personable person. I like speaking to people and sharing my point across. So at one point I was going to be a lawyer. Wow. And when I think about it, I'm like, oh my goodness, that is not for me. Like I am completely meant to be in social media. Like even I remember a couple years ago for my birthday, I bought myself like a whole bunch of, little figurines for my room and I ended up buying a hashtag, like a little thing that was a hashtag. And I thought to myself, I bought it because, it was gold and marble and it looked pretty. And I thought to myself, I'm like, wow, this was destiny. I had to be in social media. And then literally, it's like it was written in the stars. It's completely Nat. It's completely who I am. And it's just great to be at a time of our life where social media now really does have the presence that it really does deserve and that it could, the impact that it could have on people.
Wow, I love that. One of the things that stands out to me is I kind of coined the phrase that I have yes, but friends. Because people always tell you you shouldn't have yes people around you. And I always say I don't have yes people. I have yes, but people. Because I am, Sanju knows, Tracy knows, I'm one of those people that's up at all hours. And for some reason, I get the best ideas at 3 a.m. You know what I mean, that, right? Yes. And so I wake up and I'm like, let me tell you about this idea. And my friends know, number one, they know I'm going to do it anyway. Like that's the first thing, I'm going to do it anyway. So they always say, yes, that's a great idea, but let's look at this. Let's take a look at that. But let's think about this a little bit. And it helps because so often you don't have that support system. And what they want to say is just, that's crazy and negate what you're saying. So I completely understand, Natalie. No, and it also reminds me, people don't know, I went to college to be an accountant and I wind up doing social media and marketing, but I couldn't see myself sitting in a little cubicle counting beans all day. At some point I was like, just round it up. Just put it in a pile. Like, what's the difference? So let me just ask you, Natalie, that as far as social media, one of the things that I think for business owners that they find difficult is they may know how to post from a personal perspective. We all know how to post and share what we have for breakfast, check in at our Starbucks or whatever we're doing. But when we're posting for a company, what are some of the things that you should keep in mind when representing your company?
That's a great question.
Thank you. I do try.
Yeah, that's a great question. The thing is, a lot of people don't underestimate social media and they don't actually see that there's a science behind it. When it comes to even posting at certain times or the way that you write your captions, the consistency throughout, making sure that you use the right hashtags. Hashtags are a huge component that takes a lot of research and study because I have my own strategies where it's very important to go very wide with your hashtags, but also try to be very niche because you want that reach with a lot of people, but you want to make sure you're talking to the right people.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, it's very important for businesses to understand who they want to talk to, because that's the beauty of social media. At the end of the day, with social media, you have access to thousands of people every single day, and that you can message and just say, hey, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people can understand, like, wow, like that's a big impact that you can have on people and like with your business. And I always like to say that your social media profile is like a dating profile.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it gives people the opportunity to say, like, you know what? I'm interested in what you do. You know, I want to learn a little bit more. And I always like to say that I like to treat social media profiles as kind of like a frequently asked questions page.
Mm-hmm.
What are like for me, if I know nothing about your business, I know nothing about what you do, who you work with, nothing. If I can come to your social media and understand who you are and get all these little questions answered that maybe, you know, your website can't, or maybe not even, you know, in person. You know, what's great about Instagram is that a lot of people think that, you know, Instagram and Facebook, when you post, it has to be perfect. You know, you need to get that perfect post, that perfect picture, the perfect lighting, and it doesn't have to be. And that's the beauty of social media, because people want to see real things. They want to, you know, see what your restaurant looks like, what your food actually looks like, the people that are there, or they want that rawness, because that's, at the end of the day, I always like to say, people work with people because of the relationship that they have. So many people that I know, all the clients that we have, work with us because they trust us. They like how dependable they like the fact that they can depend on us, that we're open. There's so many reasons. It's like the same way with you, Sharifah. Like, there's so many people that want to go on your talk show because they like your energy. They like the
Exactly.
topics that you bring. It's about talking about real things and not just using social media just to use it.
Excellent. I love that answer, Sanju. I can see you have a great team. Who else do we have here today?
So the other person I want to bring on to this is my brother, Adeel. You know, again, I'll let him go through how we met and all that, but essentially,
Okay, wait, let me go back. That's your brother?
not real brother.
Okay,
Brother,
wait,
as
wait,
in,
wait,
like,
we
We're
got the
all
whole
brothers.
we could. So Adeel, literally, his website is increaseprofits.ca. So I think that says it all.
Did you whisper the website, Sanju?
Yeah. So
Did you whisper it?
I went through it.
No, I said you whispered the
I said the
website. I'm like, you got to increaseprofits.ca. Got to do
Thank you.
I'm learning. It's only my like third or fourth. Come on.
Adeel, help me out, Adeel, please.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yeah, so let's not whisper increaseprofits.ca. Let's say it as clearly as possible. And first of all, I got to say, like, you know, Nat, if you ever do become a lawyer, you're hired, because you probably win all my cases with your smile. She always does this, right? She's got the greatest smile in the room. And Sharifah, I would hire you as my accountant. If you're just going to round up, I'm okay with that.
Okay, I won't round down. So, yes.
Oh, perfect. That's great. Yeah, so I mean, I met Sanju probably about 3-4 years ago now, and we kind of it was kind of happenstance. We were sort of in this social business club, and we were, you know, we'd come around the same time, go around the same time, have lunch sort of near each other, and the business owner was like, man, like you two really should talk. And it was kind of like, okay, well, who's going to say hi first, right? So that period lasted, I'd say, a year, where we just ignored each other. And then and then I finally, I don't know if I'm going to say it was me, Sanju. I went up to him and said, hello, I think, you know, we should
I never
chat.
make the first move.
And no, of course you don't. And I think it really boiled down to pretty much what the person that connected us saw is that we have a common understanding of what kind of client experience we want to be delivering to our clients. And be it that we're in very different but very similar industries and fields, I think our journey has been similar. So we're able to relate on that as a baseline, you know, to kind of put our clients first. So, you know, anytime you talk to Sanju, he'll always refer to his clients as partners, right? Like, we partner with our clients. He always, you know, positions GNL as not just someone that's delivering a service, but really that is someone that's integrated with their customer. And that's the same way that we position ourselves. So, you know, first and foremost, one of the, we do a lot, just like Sanj, you said, we do quite a few things, but one of the things that we focus on is helping clients increase profits through technology. So some of those technologies can be, you know, marketing, it could be finance or credit loans and things like that. But just to put it into layman's terms, we help clients accept credit card payments, whether that's through your website, through an app, through a retail environment, through a credit card terminal. We have a lot of solutions that we offer, but you know, in a nutshell, we're using technology to help our clients find profit.
Mm-hmm. So Sandra, you have a great team, very interesting team. Now you had a sort of direction you wanted to go into, and I just took over, which I tend to do.
Well, Adeel honestly really undersold himself. The man's is a wizard, like is an absolute wizard. The stuff he pulls off with my clients is ridiculous. I think like we've saved clients up to what 45 grand a year on merchandise. Insane the stuff he pulls off. So you know, I'm going to go back to him and make him resell himself a bit better.
Okay,
But Tracy,
so
I kind of want to talk to you a little bit. And you know, when we met, I remember our conversation was very much around the lines of, I don't believe in PR. I don't see the point. And I love the way that you helped me understand the value. And I'm hoping you can do that again around why PR matters in a larger marketing strategy.
Yeah, just in general.
Yeah, go for it. Whatever you like.
Yeah. So basically, when a lot of people think about, you know, when you hear PR, they think about rock stars and, you know, sports stars, and very few entrepreneurs actually consider PR. So I have this conversation literally almost daily with entrepreneurs, and then they hire me. And no matter what they're expert in, I always say that PR and media, the effective use and intelligent use of PR and media can elevate you to the top of any field and essentially have you begun to be considered a thought leader outside your field and within your field. And so there's all kinds of different opportunities, no matter what you do, to speak as an expert. So whether I always use real estate as a really good example, because we all know 10 real estate agents, right? Everybody here knows real estate agents personally. And you can't leave your house.
Natalia knows a lot of them recently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
and
do
you
not
can't
get me
leave your
started with real estate agents, guys.
well, there you go. And you can't leave your house without seeing 15 ads, right? You know, on the bus. So real estate agents are a great example of entrepreneurs or business people who spend a shitload of money on advertising and never consider PR. But the reality is literally no word of a lie, 5 or 6 times a day across my desk, I get requests from all kinds of media, and there's different services that publicists sign on to, where we hear from media that want quotes, you know, from experts in different fields. But real estate is hilarious because it's the one where people in real estate advertise more than probably any other business daily, because they have to do other listings and everything, and never use PR. But media is constantly looking for quotes from real estate agents, whether it's to do with staging or the marketplace, or I mean daily, and they send those to publicists looking for sources. So every day I'm laughing, you know, thinking, geez, if real estate agents, 98% of them only knew how much opportunity there is for free advertising in the media, which in any agent, I mean, no matter what your career is, being in the media as a thought leader or a speaker on your industry differentiates you from your competitors, and in the customer mind, it really builds you up. That's why we've always seen, as seen on TV, even when it was just advertising, before people got sophisticated enough to realize those are paid spots. Well, now, you know, when you see someone in the news, most people assume that the news looks far and wide to get the best expert or the best person in their field, the most credible. Well, the fact is they're usually just responding to a press release that was sent out by that person's publicist. So that person stars in the story because they suggested the story to the media, or alternately, media has been assigned a story and they come to publicists looking for quotes. So I use real estate as an example because it's a job that everybody knows and is familiar with, but that's the case with anything. And Sanju, you can speak to that because, some people would say, well, web design, how would we get media opportunities for that? We were able to find media opportunities within the first week or two more than other clients.
Yeah.
So no matter what it is that you do, there are people who need to hear about it. So yeah, there's just opportunities to build yourself up as an expert and to speak on your field and issues that affect your field, which really differentiate you in the public mind and build you up in your own industry.
I definitely agree. Let Sanju speak on that, but I think one of the main issues is the idea, like you mentioned earlier, Tracy, that you have to be a celebrity in order to have a publicist, and that for public relations, that person is primarily there to control when you go crazy in the media, or if you decide you want to run for president at the last minute, you need somebody to handle what people see. So most entrepreneurs, and I was not talking about Kanye, so y'all stop laughing.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I thought about Kanye right away.
I can't get
I
any worse
saw
than
the
this,
laughing in the background, but they don't look at it as an opportunity to be quoted in the media. I think that there should be a way to clarify that to entrepreneurs and business owners, that you are not just there to correct their actions in the media, but also to give them opportunities for any industry.
Absolutely.
I agree. I mean, I think it ties into the bigger strategy, right? Where if you're doing stuff on social and you're doing stuff on SEO and you're building a sexy website and you got a nice branding, but if nobody knows about you, what's the point? Right? And PR is a great way to get into some nice publications, build some instant credibility, and help supplement and support everything else that's going on.
And that's a great point, the way you said, if nobody knows about you. Exactly. And I say that too, when people have like authors who write a book, or people who write make a CD, or businesses that have an amazing idea and they sit there and they think, okay, now I've put it out there, everybody's going to come to me, but nobody knows about it, because how do you get through all that noise, right? Yeah. So exactly. I always say PR and media is the way to go. Give it a try for a month and you won't understand how you did without it before.
Yes, and it really will take a month. Sometimes even with SEO, it'll take months in order for you to see any type of traction. But PR is one of those things that happens immediately. When we raised $6 million in the IPO, that's when I really started to focus on PR, because I realized it wasn't the advertising or the marketing, it was the PR, which created a story that people connected with. And so that's the same thing with social media, Natalia. You have to get people to connect with the message, because just posting it and putting it out there is not going to give you the same result. Would you agree?
I 100% would agree. Funny enough, I wanted to. So Sanju and I have this thing where we kind of finish each other's sentences, or like he says things that I'm thinking of, or vice versa. So I was going to talk and say how important it is to optimize every part of your platform, because there could be people that could go onto your website and think, wow, what a great website. And then they go onto your social media to see what's actually real, fun and exciting. And there's no consistency there. Or so it's like, what was the point of you making all that investment into your website or to your PR or to your social media if they're not all talking about the same thing? Right. And in terms of social media, a lot of people just think, I like to think of it, and I explain it as there's a before and after of posting. It's not just about posting whatever you have to do and call it a day, I'll get off Instagram. What you need to do, like at the end of the day, social media is there for you to be social. You have to have conversations, and at the end of the day, people are going to be interested in what you have to say. So what I say usually with my clients, and I tell them, if you're going to post, let's just say, at 11 o'clock, you should be spending at least, an hour to half an hour of your time before posting, commenting on other people's posts, sharing your 2 cents. Because at the end of the day, when you're explaining that, people could be scrolling through, their feed, see a post and see that you posted a really interesting comment that maybe that talks about your values or your beliefs or what you represent as a company. And that'll make people, give like a light bulb, like, oh, I want to know who this person is. This, whatever this person said interested me. Let's go back to see who they really are. So those are things that you have to do, making those commenting, engaging with people. And then afterwards, and the funny thing is, there's certain things that aggravate me about social media, because it could social media can be.
I like Natalia. Natalia's about to get. I tell people I do this show for my own therapy. Sometimes I got to get some stuff off my chest. Go ahead, Natalia, get that stuff off your chest. Sanj, you don't. This is not a performance evaluation. Don't hold it against her.
For me, what aggravates me is that when I see people who have whether that's 100 followers or 1,000,000 followers, it really aggravates me when people don't respond to comments.
Ooh, I'm gonna jump in there because I have a question. You just brought up my number one pet peeve. Oh, girl. Oh, this is getting good because I had this conversation. Thank you. This conversation with so many business owners, and I find that half of them are on one side and literally the other half are on the other side as far as automation. Like some people are like, you know what? I automate everything. I schedule out my posts from now until 2022. Then there are other people who are like, you know what? I don't do any type of automation. If you see a post, it's my post. Now, I'm one of those people. If you see a post, and I think Sanju and Tracy can probably tell by now, if you saw a Sharifah Hardy post, Sharifah Hardy wrote it, right? Now, I'm not opposed to automation, but what I find is so many people do the set it and forget it. So the post went out there, people comment, and my belief is no comment goes unanswered, period. No comment goes unanswered. And so people will make posts, people will comment, and then nothing. What are your thoughts on that? You were going into it and I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, so it's like, for me, if you think about it, your whole purpose of posting is so people could talk to you and then eventually talk to other people. I always like to say, in the beginning, we need to initiate the conversation. We need to push people, talk about me, talk to me. But then when you finally have people responding to you and you don't do nothing with it, you're just putting all that time and energy into the garbage. And when it comes to scheduling is a great tool. But a lot of people don't, it's like you said, they set it and forget it. And they don't realize that the whole point of scheduling is so you don't need to worry about what you're posting that day. It's so you need to worry about how to engage with your post that day. How do you push it further? So if I have a post that's going to come out today that I have scheduled, rather than me thinking, oh, what is the caption that I'm going to post? I'm going to have that ready, but I'm going to think, okay, what kind of stories can I do to push this? How can I relate this to somebody else? Who could I send this to? Who could I tag? Worrying about if someone's commenting, asking me a question. Okay, perfect. I have time to respond to it. I'm going to engage with the post. So it aggravates me when people just leave it like that, because at the end of the day, you're leaving people who are taking time out of their day to want to have a conversation with you. And it's like saying, I'm going to be talking to you and you're going to be looking the other direction. Exactly. We're going to have the whole talk show like this.
I know, but it's like somebody sent you an email and you didn't answer it. Somebody sent a phone call to your business. You didn't respond to it. It's the same thing, and people don't take that into account. Tracy, you do social media well. You are one of the people who has the ability to blend personal and business together. And from what I see, you don't seem like one of those set and forget type people.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I had this conversation with one of my clients the other day, and one out of 50 clients, and she's like, "Do you think that you should maybe separate your personal from your business, from your social media and your personal?" And I said, "Well, if I did that, I think my personal would have 2 posts, because my business and my personal are completely intertwined. It would be very hard to separate. Like, you'll notice if you follow me on socials, I'm always saying my friend and client, and that's not I say that about 80% of my clients, not everyone, because not every single one I've established a friendship where I know them that well yet. But I honestly feel most of my clients, the vast majority, they're either already friends and they see me on socials and see what I can do. So they ask me to, come and work and do some work for them. So they are my friend and my client. And then, or they're like Sanju, I get to know them from LinkedIn and we become, work partners. And then I really like them. I love their energy and I feel like they're my friend. They're part of my world, even if we're not out going for dinner every day. Right. So I really do feel like I say my work is my life, and not in a negative workaholic way, but I love my work. I work with friends. I work with people who's, I'm passionate about what they're doing. There's no time when I'm like, oh, good, I get to stop working today. I stop working pretty much when it's time to go have a bath and chill out and smoke one and go to bed. That's when I stop working.
You gotta love Tracy. You gotta love Tracy.
Right? And then I wake up in the morning, and this is Canada, that's why I said the smoke one. Before I'm
Hey,
in,
I'm in California, so hey.
there you go. Before I'm out of bed in the morning, literally before I'm out of bed, I'm checking my messages and responding to messages. I'm like half an hour in bed. Okay, now I guess I'm awake. So my waking up isn't my coffee. My waking up is reading my clients' messages and answering the most urgent ones before I even get out of bed. So
Yes.
it is all, but back to the social media. So for me, it is all kind of one. For me, that works where it might not work for other brands, because I'm a publicist, and I speak for my clients, and I'm kind of I don't want to call myself a celebrity, but there's publicists who are in the background and nobody knows them. And then I'm one of the publicists that our work. Like, we ourselves are lauded for our work, right? So
Yes.
so I'm not so much a background girl, but also I came to PR from social justice and from activist work and all that, where, what I was believing and I was putting up personally was very much a part of the message. So, and that segued into my business, naturally as a freelancer. And then when I became a PR company, so we never started a corporation with an idea of this is what it's going to be, and it's going to be separate from me. So it's all sort of me.
It's
So it was
all
very
Lamori. It's all
authentic and
Lamori.
genuine. And yeah, I wondered at some point, did I make a mistake naming my company after myself? If I was a step away, maybe, somebody else I could sell it and be separate from it. I could never sell it because that's got my name on it. It's got my ethics and it's all like tied up. So I don't see how I could ever step away from that. So in my social media, and I don't know if you would agree in terms of the social media expert there, but I always tell people, to be genuine and that your vibe attracts your tribe. Of course, when you're writing for a corporation or a larger business that involves more than just yourself, you have to think about that, what that messaging is. But when I think about an entrepreneur doing their own messaging, I always advise them not to, like you were saying, people want to see real, and people work with people that they like specifically. So I think rather than try to be cookie cutter and pretend to be some image of whatever, just be who you are and do what you do really well, and that will attract the right customers to you.
And what's
That's
a really
right.
good,
That's right. I'll let you finish, Sanj, but I just wanted to let you know, Tracy, that Tamara Lillian says she's a friend and client right here, and she says, "Go Tracy Lamori." So you have support right there.
That's
awesome.
They are. Maybe my friends are. I'm not joking when I say that. We are like friend. We love each other. We all support each other, and we're a family. As far as I'm concerned, the Lamori Media family.
Yes.
Sanj is in it. gang&lani Media's in it.
Yeah, Sandra, you were going to say something?
I said the person who does a really good job of being authentic and genuine is actually Adeel, right? And it's really amazing to see how he puts things out there. But I actually had a question for you, Adeel. Just obviously with the way things are going, everyone's moving back into e-commerce, right? Or moving into e-commerce. So what's the benefit of using, let's say, your type of service versus going with the PayPals or the Stripes of the world?
So that's a really good question. One of the things that really has kind of really pushed that wave into e-commerce of late is COVID-19. We were listed as an essential service with the list of that the government came out with when back in the spring of 2020. So our role really shifted from providing a service and helping clients into more of a supporting role. So clients started reaching out to us and asking us, hey, like, how do we, our business has been shut down. We can't serve customers in our environment. How do we continue business? Because it's not an option to go out of business. So what do we do? So that really pushed that wave into e-commerce, into businesses selling their merchandise online. So the difference between what we provide and the Stripes and the PayPals of the world, I would say, is really a couple of things. One is pricing. So very simply, we beat all competitors on price. And the reason for that is we've found a way to be successful in business without being greedy. And I say that to all my clients because it's very important. In the course of being a corporation, I think some businesses get greedy and they sort of lose their way as to why they started the business in the first place. And for us, when we incorporated in 2010, the reason that we had started the business was to help clients. I think at its base, we actually want to partner with our clients and we want to help them, because business owners, they're doing so much, they're being pulled in so many different directions. It's hard for them to actually, manage everything. So from a finance and technology standpoint, we wanted them to lean on us. So pricing was very important, being transparent in our pricing, providing explanations on pricing, keeping pricing consistent and fair. That was very important to us. So that's one of the things that sets us apart from the PayPals and the Stripes. But the more important one is really the client experience. So we wanted to take the client experience that was being delivered by standard corporations or standardized customer service levels, take that and just elevate it. And that's what we've done. So we, the way that we've done that is that we stayed true to our fundamental, which is helping people. So, that's a genuine thing that I've always wanted to do, is to be on the side of good cause, help with charitable organizations. You see somebody in need, you help them. And so that's translated into our business concept, and really going out there and being a conduit to helping people succeed. Because in our business, if our clients aren't successful, we will never be successful. So we have to believe that any client that we're signing on with, that we are a partner, and in their success and in that journey, that entrepreneurial journey, for all of us that are entrepreneurs, we know it's not easy. It's a lot of emotional turmoil, a lot of ups and downs. And so we're there to provide them with that partnership.
And I can tell you how many clients call me always and are like, thank you for sending us a deal. Thank you for introducing us to him. Thank you. It's he's worse than I am. I mean, I'm available 24/7. He's available 25/8. Like, it's nuts.
Thank you.
So I had a question for Adeel. Since we went ahead and we mentioned those words, and Sanj mentioned them, I try to stay away from the competition on the Roundtable Talk Show, because sometimes the guests don't want to answer those questions. How do you beat PayPal? I don't know. So I don't want to put people in that position. But since we mentioned the PayPals, the Stripes, the Squares of the world, I'm one of those people. Not only am I loyal, but I like companies that have proven the test of time. Like GoDaddy, I've been with GoDaddy since the early 90s. Every time I call for technical support, when they give me that, ma'am, do you know how to open your web browser? I'm like, okay, hold on. Look at my account. Look at how many numbers my account number has. And then let's start this conversation over. And they go back, okay, 1995. Oh, okay, yes. You know what I mean? 96, whatever it was. So it's a different conversation. I've been, I have a PayPal account. I have a million different accounts. I have Square, Stripe, all these different accounts. But I use a lot of websites that have integrations. Like even during the show, there are shows where there's a fee, but everything is integrated. The Zoom, the payment processor, the Calendly, everything is integrated. So I'm concerned about not only my integration, and that I'm able to make payments through an app, through a website, through sending a link. I want to make sure every aspect is taken care of. So with those things in mind, if I was going to be a potential customer, what would you say to me?
So that's a fantastic question. And frankly speaking, I'm surprised, because most people don't realize that integrations right now is the biggest thing that's happening in payments. Being integrated with your social media, being integrated with your website and your calendar and your clients and things like that. So, that's a really good question. When you're comparing us to Stripe, we're not just a one-on-one competitor with Stripe or with PayPal. We are actually an ecosystem. So we're not just one company. It's ARC Group Incorporated for a reason. That's because there's an ecosystem of successful companies that have proven the test of time. Companies like First Data, which is now known as Fiserv, very well-known U.S. company, or companies like Elevon or Chase. These are also very well-known, massive payment processors. So when we bring a solution, we're not bringing hey, this is what increaseprofit.ca can do versus Stripe. We're actually providing you with an ecosystem of companies that can provide a cohesive solution and keep the integrations in mind. And very importantly, we really rely on GNL and Sanju's team to provide those integrations. So without Sanju, I would say it's impossible. the majority of our clients want to do business with us because they love what we've done for them or have brought to the table on the payment side. But when it comes to integrating that with e-commerce or their social media, you know, Sanju and Natalia and their entire team, they're our go-to. So we rely on them as a partner, and they're part of that ecosystem. So when you're dealing with us, you know, you can get all your e-commerce, all your social media, all your payments, all your banking requirements, all in one place. You're dealing with one point of contact, and all of our partners, we only partner with the best. So that was very important to us in our partnership with G&L, is that we really wanted to understand what they were about, what kind of commitments they held themselves up to for their customers, and making sure that anyone that we partner with is going to be able to deliver, right? And that's an important partnership for us.
And yes, he did grill me. That was it was a very intense process to to get to create this partnership. So it was fun. Sharifah, if you don't mind, for a few minutes, since we have a few minutes left, I wanted Nat to just go a little bit into a bit of her values and beliefs. It's really interesting stuff. So if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, if that's cool.
I'd love to.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
cool.
so go ahead. I'm a person who's just very, very big. Like, I liked a lot, Tracy, what you were saying about being genuine and being real. And for me, what's really, really important is I love working with clients that I actually have a genuine interest in. And you would think that this is something so common sense, but it really is not at all. But I love working with clients who, I love their product, or I love their restaurant, or I love their business, I love their value. So that's a very big reason why we also love working with Adeel, because it was great, because I've coined it approachable luxury with Adeel. He always has a way. Yes, he always has.
That sounds like a show. That sounds like a whole show right there. Approachable value.
There you go.
With Adeel.
Spin off.
Let's talk, Adeel. Me and you. We might. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 100%.
But I think what's important in this world is to make people feel special and to bring a light to a room. And that's what my goal is with everything. So not only do I do that in my business world, I also do it personally. So I'm very big on support and raising awareness. So I actually have a brother and a sister who are deaf.
Oh.
So I always grew up, seeing the barriers and the challenges that they had to go through, seeing how people treated them differently, just because, they can't hear, sort of thing. So for me, it's very, very important to bring that motivation and that positivity to people's life. And so I do that on, a daily basis with my own social media. I, talk about deaf awareness. And it's not even just about deaf awareness. Like, for me, I have a direct relationship with deaf culture and deaf awareness, of course. But I'm very big on talking about, movements going on in the world, especially, with the whole BLM movement, how the importance of us talking about things that matter and talking about things that empower other people, to make them feel like, what, you are special, you are beautiful, you are unique, you can do, the whole notion of you can do whatever you want is real. And there's so many people on this earth that don't believe that. So with every person I speak to, my main goal, and I always say this, whether it's a client or anybody, it's like, what, I want to capture the reason why you started your business in the first place. I want to get that passion. I want to make, have people's eyes sparkle with inspiration. That's what I try to do in every interaction with people, whether that's through the phone, in person, like whatever it is. And for me, it's very, very important. And it's another big reason why I work where I work, because that was always supported. That was always pushed. Like, like that is, we had the same sort of culture, same values in that sense. So it's really, really important for me to be able to talk about those things. And at the end of the day, shed light. And I've always been the kind of person that say, what, I want to give you another perspective. I'm not saying that you're right. I'm not saying that I'm wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong. But let's instead of looking at this problem, let's look at everything that's around it and see how it affects everything.
You are deep. I love that. I love that. So I'm gonna ask. I have two questions, right? So the first question I'm gonna ask, in about 5 to 10 years, when you and I are at the governor's ball or wherever we are, I want you to remember me, right? I don't want to walk up and you like, and I'm like, hi, Natalia, and you're like, who is this woman, right? So we got a commitment here, right? We got, you know what I mean?
You know what? Today is the 14th. It's 11:50 in in Toronto time. I will not forget.
Okay, because it's recorded. Okay, because I will edit this show into this little clip and put it out everywhere. I said I was at this governor's ball. I tried to speak to Natalia Armani, and she didn't even look at me. Because you're gonna go far, right? Because Sanj knows last time it just so happened that we had a psychic on the show, and she had all these things. But just listening to you speak, you're going to go far. I can tell you, you're going to grow within this process, but the world is waiting for you. So that's the first question I wanted to ask. So question number 2 that I wanted to ask is, with all of your passion and all of your excitement, when I speak to business owners in regards to social media, one of the most difficult aspects for them is they don't know how to spin their product, or they don't know how to resell their product. What that means is everybody knows how to sell a pen. It's a pen, right? It's a new pen. It's the cheapest pen. It has the best ink or whatever. But then tomorrow it's like, well, I don't know what to say. I already told him about the pen. So, you know what I mean? Like, how do you continue to sell and post and promote the same product?
This is an awesome question. I love this.
I do trust.
I want to hear the answer. That is a really, really good question.
Thank you.
So the number one thing, like, you can talk about is how they talk about features versus benefits. You can talk about how great the pen is and how the ink and this and that. But at the end of the day, what's gonna make people say I want that pen is how that pen makes you feel. Mm-hmm. So talking about the possibilities of the pen, with this pen, you can not only write, but you could write your dreams, your future. You can put that into work. Talk about the lifestyle, like how it makes you feel to take out a custom pen, for example, at a meeting. But
what if I talked about that yesterday? Now, what am I going to talk about this pen today?
Well, the thing is, like, you can talk about, like, bring it, like, what's really important, and I was actually talking to Sanj about this yesterday, connecting to actual direct personal experiences. So I was actually talking to him about, if you want to continue with the pen, like talking about a pen, like, at school, at work, at your home, during meetings, like when, like, there's certain things, for example, on our pens. What's really cool about these pens, these are our new pens that we got from G&L. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but it says here, measuring your success is our priority. And then there's like a whole like ruler here, for example. So if you think about it, this is like a feature, right? You could say like, oh yeah, we have a ruler on it. Some people will be like, but what's the point of the ruler? I can't tell you how many times I was in a meeting and I said, I don't have a measuring tape, but wait, I have my pen. Ta-da. So it's just talking about
Whose pen is this?
This is like, these are our new G&L pens. We just got these printed.
Oh my God, like that is so amazing how we work this pen into this conversation. Like, this is the best show in the world. I love this because I had no idea. Like, all right, wait a minute. You got a new pen with a ruler.
I have the book, I have it all.
Sanju, I didn't get a pen
Girl,
or a book.
I actually.
I even got
we was friends. I thought we had moved into friends, Sanju.
We did. I just lost your shipping address.
Okay.
Got lost in the mail.
We'll talk to somebody about that. I don't know who, but somebody.
I don't know.
Thank you. I literally just emailed you, Sanju, and I said, hey, where are my pens?
Look, I just cost Sanju a whole bunch of money. Like, now everybody, you get a pen, you get a pen, you get a pen.
Hey, it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure.
Adeel, you get a pen.
You know how? You know why? Because you guys just sold the pen so well to us, talking about the ruler. We're all like, I need a pen.
One of the things I wanted to actually make a comment about, speaking about the pen, is, you're right. Like, it's hard to sell something over and over, day in, day out. I mean, that's you have a limit on the amount of products you have or a business might have. And, you know, it's Natalia's job to sort of reinvent those businesses to showcase the different features. But what she does really well, and I think she's the only person that I've seen do this, is that while a product or a business has a limited amount of features or services to offer, she capitalizes and hones in on the actual passion of the business owner. That's limitless, right? You cannot quantify passion because it's limitless. And so that's what she's able to sort of extract out of the business and the business owner and showcase it on social media. And then that's what she's actually pushing. And that's a unique ability. I haven't seen anyone do that.
We're all storytellers, right?
Yes, but you know
that's
what's
probably
unique?
a separate segment, but at the end of the day, it's all about how you tell the story.
Yes, but it's not only how you tell the story, but having a great team, because everybody jumped in. Adeel jumped in and say, you know what? Natalie can't toot her own horn. You know what I mean? It's a poor dog that can't wag his own tail. But that's why you have a team of people to say, you know what? Tracy's amazing and Adeel's amazing. And this is what Natalia does that's great. And Sir Sanju brought them all together. And this is amazing. So we got 4 minutes left, Sir Sanju. I'm going to allow everybody, like always, to have a few final words. So I'm going to ask each of you to look directly in your camera, speak directly to the audience who's watching the show live, as well as everyone who is watching in the archives, and simply let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today. And we're going to start with you, Adeel.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you having me, and this has been an excellent opportunity to just as a platform to discuss and have a conversation, and to everyone listening. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm someone that's sitting in front of you that went through my ups and downs, and not only am I here successful in my own way, but I'm here successfully helping other business owners. So follow your dreams. Don't give up on yourself. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Keep your head down and keep grinding.
Yes, keep grinding. Does that say hustle behind you, by the way? I've been staring at that all the whole show.
It does, and that's another gift that Sanju got me. So I mean, he's just giving out Santa Claus gifts all day long. Just keep asking, ask them for anything. That's the legit thing.
Sanju, I didn't get a hustle. I didn't get a hustle either, Sanju.
You're good at it. You don't need the reminder.
Sanju, my feelings a little hurt right now. Natalia, what do you have for us?
But again, yes, it was a complete pleasure being here. It's nice talking to like-minded people. I think my number one takeaway, more than anything, whether it's not even about business, but I am very big on love in this world. So if we can show love and care for each other, then whether that's through business or your personal life, you will succeed, and you will be like, if putting your mind to it and actually having the genuine interest and the intention to do good in this world, I think we will go very, very far, and we need more people like here. So yeah, I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, Nat. We appreciate you. Tracy, what do you have for us?
I've just really enjoyed sitting here and listening to have a whole hour with the whole team, because normally I do my work, you know, separate from where my clients are. So it's sort of nice to meet the whole back end and to see the awesome people behind Sanju. So
thank you. And that wraps up the show. No closing words from Sir Sanju.
You're lost.
Sir Sanju, go ahead and take us out.
I found the quote. Being powerful is like being a lady. If you have to tell people you are, you aren't.
I like that.
Do. Since all of my friends here are sending me emails constantly asking if you email us or follow us on social, so at GNL Media, or email us at askus@gnlmedia.com, I will send you some swag.
Okay.
And Sanju is available for media interviews.
Okay, well, no, see, I didn't hear Sanju. I heard a lot of swag, but I didn't hear what we had to do to get a lot of swag.
Actually, if anyone books free consults and we decide to work together, I'm more than happy to send you a lot of really cool swag. Our website, askusforanything.com.
Okay, I'm going to askusforanything.com right now. I'm going to book my consultation. I'm going to get all my free swag. I'm going to put my I need a hustle something, right? I need something here that says hustle, because I hustle hard every morning just to help all of you. So I want to thank you all for being a guest on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I especially want to thank Sir Sanju for bringing this all together and bringing your team and showing us that it's not just about one person, it's about all of us making a difference in the world, which is why I launched the Roundtable Talk Show to begin with. After my run for Long Beach City Council, I realized it's not just up to the president, the governor, the mayor, the city council person to change our lives. It's up to all of us, each of us individually, to be the best us and to be the best person that we can be in this world to help everyone else. And now, of course, I have to thank everyone who tuned in to watch this show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives. You might not have missed the live show, but you're still important if you caught it in the archives, and we still need your support. We still want you to go ahead and share this show and to support our guests. Visit their website, askusforanything.com. Get your free consultation. If you're interested in more ways that I can help your business, we're also getting ready to launch and announce our 2-day New Year, New You 2-day teleconference, where you will see Sir Sanju on December 29th and 30th. Or if you want to be a guest on the Roundtable Talk Show, please visit the website at AskSharifah.com. Until tomorrow morning at the same time, 8 a.m. Pacific, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.